Hello, guys and gals. Where am I? Where did I go? Oh, no. Oh, there I am. What's up, guys and gals? How's it going? We are going to be taking a look at this today. Got a message request? Nizari says, writing to you. I'm going to be coordinating Moonbeast stream. I'm also supposed to filter and pass any important questions so they can be answered on live today. So if your viewers have anything super important to ask, go ahead and write to me here. Sweet. Well, I will definitely put my questions in through Discord then. That sounds like fun. So we're going to be asking questions. This is going to be like a community thing where you guys can ask questions. I can ask questions. We're going to have some fun talking with them and looking at what they have to show us today. For what I understand, this is more of a demo that they're showing us, not necessarily like the full game. Obviously, they're still early in production, so that's interesting. Obviously, also they're no longer part of Blizzard. Blizzard North split off from Blizzard a long time ago, and people like David Brevik, Eric Schaefer, and the lots. Um, I think there's a full listing of people on the Moonbeast Discord, which is where I get most of this information. Uh, do, 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 do. I know that Eric Schaefer's on the project. I'm not sure if David Brevik is on the project. I know there's some other people on the project from the Blizzard North team as well, so we shall see. Do, do, do. The people that are working on this game have been working on games such as this is from their frequently asked questions. It says we are a new development studio with decades of ARPG experience, having been principals on Diablo, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Nox. Ooh, they were working on Nox. That's pretty cool. Hellgate London, Torchlight, and Torchlight 2, Marvel Heroes Online, and more. We also have tons of other AAA experience under our belt, but with lead principal credits on every Blizzard game from the original Warcraft all the way up to World of Warcraft Mist of Pandaria. Our current project is, as of yet, unnamed multiplayer isometric fantasy RPG ARPG. Highlights include phenomenal 3D graphics with unique aesthetics, state-of-the-art high-quality granular procedural world generation, item system with the feel of Diablo 2, but with many modern enhancements, expansive skill system with an emphasis on player choice and build diversity, a complete breakdown from a traditional ARPG game loops to foster greater replayability, freedom to play alone or with massive community of other players, fully moddable with a huge suite of creation tools so players can add to the game or create entirely new ones. So it should be fun to see what this game turns out to be. I'm gonna have fun with this. Pushing close to a year membership, aggro. Hell yeah, buddy. We'll have to have an aggro party. You can pick a game. How about that? When you hit 1 year membership, you can pick a game for me to play, and I'll play it. Even if I hate it, even if I hate the game, I'll still play it. That'll be your key to throw in something I really hate. Like, oh man, why'd you pick that turd game? That game's a turd. That game's a hard turd. That's a hard turd. Why is it? That's terrible. It's a terrible game. Why you do that to me? Why you do that to me? I wonder if I can shoot you guys an invite to the Moonbeast Discord. There's also the Moonbeast Reddit, which I have found to be very, very fun to go over. If you guys haven't checked it out, I've gone over quite a few of their kind of like blog posts in terms of ARPG stuff. And there's been quite a few of them that have been posted. Like, I'm pretty sure I covered this one, which was trade versus solo self-found. And I don't know, there's a lot of interesting information in here. When I was going over some of this, I actually came across a lot of interesting tidbits about Diablo 2, including things about resets. Like the guy that originally developed the ladder resets is in here, which is pretty interesting. What's up, Hollywood Polo? I love your D2R videos. Do you think this will be your new favorite ARPG? I mean, I'm certainly going to give it a try. I mean, if your favorite author wrote a new book, you'd at least give the new book a try, right? Even if it turns out to be terrible. I mean, that's basically what's going on, right? My favorite author is now making another book, so I'm gonna at least give it a try. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. First screenshot ever. Oh, that looks pretty. I like that. That jank's high quality too. Hold on, let me open that in a new tab. Hmm. Yes, the devs are going to be showing off the game live, and we're going to be able to ask questions. I'm going to be able to shoot questions directly to one of the coordinators. So if you guys want to ask questions here, I can ask them over there. Um, I mean, we'll see. Or you can just hop over to the stream and you can ask questions directly on the stream chat. I mean, whatever it is that you want to do. The stream, in fact, I'll link it for you if you want to watch it separate of me. You don't want me in the way. This is the Moonbeast Twitch page. You guys can head over there and watch it directly. I will have the chat open myself. Well, that does not translate well to 4K. I will have the chat open myself over here, which I'm going to have in like a little pop out so that I can have that ready for me when I need to send messages. Or just honestly, just to see what people are saying. I'm always interested in what people got to say on certain topics, like this one. It'll be interesting what you guys think of this game. It's the first time I've seen it too, so we're gonna first time see it together. That's basically what's gonna go on right now. It starts at 4, so we've got a little bit of time. I figured I'd give us some time to gather, and that way you guys can all pile up and we can start this the right way. As opposed to normally when I start a live stream, there's like 3 people in it, and then like 10, 20 minutes later, it goes up to like 100 people. But um, that would be silly because 10, 20 minutes later, you guys missed a bunch of the good stuff. It's been a while since I played Grim Dawn Hollywood. I'd have to. I think I might want to give that one another try on stream. That might be something fun for us to do. I haven't played Grim Dawn in a while, and it's been long enough that honestly, I think it's probably time for a to revisit Grim Dawn. Maybe we'll make a day for that. That'll be fun. How much is it on Steam right now? Let's go take a look on Steam. Oh Lord, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go to the store, please. How much is it on Steam? Grim Dawn. Well, I do own it. Is there expansion packs that I don't have? Grim Dawn is already in my Steam library. Looks like they got a bunch of expansions. The complete collection. What's in the bundle of the complete collection? The Grim Dawn Crucible mode, LDLC, Grim Dawn Ashes of Malmouth expansion, Grim Dawn Forgotten Gods expansion, Farthest Frontier. That doesn't seem like it belongs in there with Grim Dawn. Why is that in there? It's probably just made by the same company. The Loyalist pack comes with a bunch of items. Loyalist pack. I mean, these just seem like cosmetics and stuff. So it looks like there's at least 2 expansions and a DLC, and then these are just packs. So I mean, that's not really that big of a deal. I don't really know if I really need the Loyalist packs. Crucible is just grinding DLC. It's also only $6 though. What the hell comes in these little packs? Little cosmetic items. Is that really it? Just cosmetics? Because if it's just cosmetics, I'm not really interested in a bunch of cosmetics. I'm gonna ignore that one. And I'm also... What does this one look like? This one looks kind of cool. It's got some nice little shields and stuff. The Silver Knight, the Dragon General, the White Wizard, the Black Knight. That one actually looks kind of cool, but again, I think I'd be fine without the DLC. So it's basically just these 3 right there. You want Ashes and the Forgotten Gods. Let's just add the expansion separate. It seems like it'll be cheaper. Alright, let's put a pause on that. We don't want that downloading while we're streaming. Beep boop. The PoE is trending all of a sudden. My opinion on PoE, I don't like it. I've tried it multiple times over multiple years, and I could never get into it ever, and I don't like it. And I blew up the other day because of the 17,000th person that asked me to go try PoE for the 17,000th time. And ironically, since that 17,000th time, I'm pretty sure that we're up to like 18,000 at this point, because I think another 1,000 people have asked me to download it at this point. Oh, Professor X321123. Thank you for the subscription, buddy. I really appreciate that. They're going to be starting here in about, what, like 15, 16 minutes? 15, 16. I kind of wanted to go over some other stuff with the Moonbeast Productions. They do have a website. Let me pull that up real quick. There's kind of like a little mailing list. I've actually done multiple videos, by the way, if you guys are interested in this topic, like maybe after this, if you're really interested in trying to find out more about the Moonbeast Productions game. I actually have a whole like playlist that basically goes over the Moonbeast stuff. It's right here. Yes, this is it. Let me bring this up on camera real quick and I'll link it to you guys. So they did a bunch of developer kind of like posts and they talked about a whole bunch of different topics. Everything from item level, tiers and runes, to crafted items, skill trees and charms, shards and seasons, trade versus solo self-found. They've done a whole lot of stuff. So if you guys want to take a look at some of that later after the event here, they've got a good head on their shoulders. Everything that I've read inside their posts makes me think they understand how to actually make an ARPG, and you know they know what's going on. There's even some really interesting tidbits in there about Diablo 2 if you want to learn more about Diablo 2, because these are the guys that actually worked on it. Like these are the guys that actually created the ladder season. These are the guys that actually came up with the idea for charms and talk about like how charms are supposed to function, like the whole 9 yards, everything. My opinion on Last Epic is it still needs to cook. When I played it last, it felt like a really buggy, kind of like not really complete game. There were problems like the shift key didn't work and I couldn't click and fire at the same time. And there was a whole bunch of little problems that were definitely indicative of a game that was not finished yet. And my opinion of Last Epic is it really needs time to cook in the pot. It's like a potato that's not quite done yet. I'm not gonna judge it before it's finished. It definitely isn't finished. That game needs time to finish. I would give it another couple of years before I would give it another try because it's just not ready yet. If you go and play it, you'll probably see exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, there's a game there. You can play something. It's really not finished yet. And if you go and you find my live stream of Last Epic, you're going to see me cussing a lot and complaining about how terrible certain missing features are and literally crying a lot. Like I spent a lot of time crying about literally not being able to hold down the shift key and not being able to click and fire at the same time. And there's a bunch of other little things that I was complaining about. Also, the monster variety seems very bland in Last Epic. I'm not really sure what's going on with the monster variety in Last Epic. It seems like they designed like 5 monster types, and then they just stopped designing monster types. So they literally have like big Hulk monster. And then like that's like a type, and so you'll just see these guys all throughout the entire world. Every time you see big Hulk monster, doesn't matter if they have a different like veneer on the outside. It's literally the same exact monster every single time. And then there's like standard monster number 6, and then like all the monsters that are like standard size are like standard monsters number 6, and then there's like standard archer number 4, and then that's like every single archer that you come across is like standard archer number 4, and then there's like tiny like fodder monster type, and then that tiny fodder monster type is literally the same tiny fodder monster type you will encounter through the entire game. And it really kind of bugged me because in the beginning it was kind of cool and the monster types seemed kind of like diverse, but then like I got to a new area and I was expecting new monsters, and it was the same exact monsters with like a different coating of paint, and it was still big Hulk monster, standard archer monster, tiny fodder monster. Oh, and I forgot basic mage unit number 7. And every single time you encounter monsters, you will encounter monsters that are comprised of these 5 types, and there are no other types. And then by the time I got to some of like the higher areas, they threw in some spiders. There were some spiders that they threw in, and that was kind of a good change of pace because of the first time I encountered a new monster, but it was a big giant spider, and they were kind of annoying. I don't know. I don't want to do a review, and I don't want to bash Last Epic because I feel like they just need time to cook. I'm going to give them time, and I'm going to give them time to cook it. I'm not going to make a big, giant negative review video or anything on them because it's just they need time. They just need some time. I'm going to give them the time that they need, and that's what we're going to do. They're still in beta. They're not even released yet. I think they were in alpha when I tried it out or something, or maybe it was like maybe they were transitioning to beta. I don't know. Not sure. I wonder if there's actually a release date. Let's see. Last Epic is scheduled to release on February 21st, 2024. So, not till next year. So when Last Epic releases officially, I guess we'll go back and we'll take another look at it on the 1.0 version. All right, we're about 10 minutes away. Eric saving the day, stopping me from missing the stream with his post. Oh yeah, I should probably put a post out too. Let me put a quick post out. We're getting pretty close here. Post and post. I never did get into Guild Wars 2. I tried. I remember back in the day we had a couple boxes at the store. I used to run a computer store with my brother, and I tried to install them, and all the codes were already used or whatever. I can't remember. And I think at the time I just didn't have money. And I got into Final Fantasy 11 online, and then I never looked back. And I don't think I ever really got into Guild Wars 1 or Guild Wars 2. That was one of the few. That was one of the few MMOs that I think I just never played. Final Fantasy 14 was one of my favorite MMOs. So was Lord of the Rings Online until they ruined it with the free to play stuff. Um, and then Final Fantasy 11 got ruined by them like increasing the level cap to 99 and then turning everything into baby mode. Yeah, free to play on the free to play edition for Lotro just slowly killed the game, as well as being sold to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was where things really went downhill. Hey, it's starting.
Ooh, look at that Moonbeast. We got a special
Yeah.
little graphic and everything. Special little graphic. Got a special little graphic. Special little graphic. Special little graphic.
Nudging it over.
I can hear them talking in the background. They don't have their mic muted.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. So what happened to Lotro is an interesting story. The original developers of Lord of the Rings Online basically all quit. I don't remember what the story was, but so there was some sort of like mass exodus that occurred, and what happened was they had to kind of like take over, and it just kind of like ended up in this really weird situation where they had this really good game made by the original developers of Lord of the Rings Online, and then the new developers that came in to cover for the old ones that disappeared didn't really know what the hell they were doing, and just kind of, I don't know. Said Phil is going to start with single player on a local server. I think they're talking about Phil Shank. I'm not entirely sure. Phil Shank is obviously named after Shank the Overseer. That is a whole thing.
Ooh.
Or maybe they're talking about Sweet Phil. I don't know. maybe it's Sweet Phil, and I'm just silly. I can bring up the chat. There we go. I'm kind of in the way of the chat, but
Or just people that haven't chatted, right? Oh wait, where do you see? Oh, okay.
there's no music. It's so quiet. Oh man. Almost time. Cluthu S logo there. I kind of like Cthulhu. Cthulhu's the elder god. What's wrong with the elder god? Can I friend you on Steam? You want to friend me on Steam? Sure, why not? How do I, notifications? Friend request. DJ Craig. I don't think that's you, Hollywood Polo. Unless that is you, Hollywood Polo. No, I don't see you on the list. See? Nothing here. I don't really play on Steam a lot. I mean, except for I'm going to play Grim Dawn on there, I guess. Some old foxes here. This is something we've been waiting on for maybe 15 years even. 15 years. I'm just excited for a new ARPG made from Blue by Blizzard North. I'll give it a try. Yeah, where are the foxes at? No quarter for you olds? Hey, from Seattle. Seattle, Washington. It's funny when I was looking up Phil Shank. So Shank was named after Shank the Overseer, but he was not on the project when they named him that. Apparently, he did his work and he moved on to the next project, and he was like not even in the building or working on Diablo 2 at the time. And apparently, they just like called him up and they're like, "Hey, can we name a monster after you?" And they totally just named like Shank the Overseer after him after he was gone. Here, let's do this. I'm gonna use my pop out instead, since my pop out is get over here, pop out. There's my pop out. That way you can see it a little bit better because it'll be on this side of the screen instead of the side that I'm sitting on. I'm gonna make the text a little bit bigger too, so you guys can actually read it. Supposedly, this game is supposed to have destructible terrain, which sounds really interesting. So they were talking about this during one of the developer things. Is that basically when you say you launch a meteor down from the heavens, right? And the meteor smashes into the ground. Well, it's not just gonna smash into the ground and leave no mark. Like it's gonna damage the ground. It's gonna make like a divot, and it's gonna destroy some of the surrounding terrain. It's gonna make like a meteor-like impact, and it's gonna be really quite interesting. A meteor-like impact. Apparently, you're going to be able to just destroy the terrain at will if you want to. Like, you just slap out all them doojanks. Hmm. That's right. A few meteors in the same place, and you can create like a dump yard. Oh, Diablo 2 Resurrected is amazing. Hollywood Polo. I mean, I don't think Diablo 2 Resurrected is ever going anywhere, and it's going to be seasonal content forever. We're basically just going to keep plopping back and forth between Diablo 2 Resurrected and whatever other game we're going to be playing at this time. You know, like when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, I played Baldur's Gate 3, and then eventually when well, I'm hitting them with the chonkers. That's what I'm hitting them with, the chonkers, and then eventually we went back to Diablo. I'm already at the point where I want to go back to Diablo 2 for the time being. I think I'm done with Diablo 4 season 2. I'll wait till season 3. I'm probably gonna still put out some Diablo 4 videos, but maybe we'll do some Grim Dawn for a while. That sounds like fun. We could hook up to Grim Dawn and try that out for us. It's been a long time since I pulled up Grim Dawn. Hey, Extimus is here. Nice. Extimus is another Diablo 2 video maker. He's been around for a while. Longer than me. Longer than me. They really should have some kind of music or something playing in the background. Some little sound effect or something. It's like dead quiet. No, Extimus, he got noticed by Asmongold, and apparently that exchange was less than stellar. And Asmongold did like a video review of his video, and then Extimus did like a rebuttal video or something, and then I don't know. I don't think anything worked out all that well for him. I don't know. Apparently a bunch of hecklers, showed up and stuff like that, so it wasn't really pleasant. Maybe he kind of shut down after that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I really don't. I haven't spoken to him in a while. He did get a lot of views on that video though, from what I remember. It was like 71,000 views. It was pretty hefty view wise. It was the why Diablo 2 players hate Diablo 4. And then and Asmongold watched that video, and then he did like a response video. I don't know, I kind of like some of his Asmongold content. I've been watching his videos on the legal view botting thing going on Twitch with some other interesting companies.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our live demo. This is first time doing this for everybody here on the team, myself included. So go easy on us. So what we're going to be doing here today, I think a lot of you probably came over here from our Discord or from people that referred you here. What we're going to be doing here today is talking a little bit about Moonbeast. And then we're also going to be showing a very, very early look at the game. And this is well, not pre-production, but it's earlier than probably most people get to see a game. A lot of the art is, temporary placeholder. We've been working on this thing for a while now, and we're proud enough of it to be able to show it off and sort of get some impressions. But it's very early. Joining me via voice here, we've got some of the team that are in through Discord. Peter Hu, my co-founder, is here, and he's going to be primarily reading your comments and answering your questions and sort of directing while I play the demo. Eric Schaefer is here also. I don't think he's going to be talking too much, but he's here. He's here lurking on the forums, and we've got some of the other folks on the team too. Peter, can you say a word just to make sure that this is hooked up properly?
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us, and man, super excited to show you what we have so far.
Yeah, we're pumped. We believe that the people here, this is our devoted community, folks that we already know a little bit. A lot of you know a little bit about what we're doing from our Reddit and from our Discord. Incidentally, we have the links to both of those on our Twitch channel, so feel free to sign up for Discord and for Reddit to get ongoing updates. So a little bit of an introduction for those of you that don't know. We are a lot of ex-Blizzard North folks. I met Peter Hu there at Blizzard North working on Diablo 2. We both came specifically to work on Diablo 2. We had both played Diablo 1, and it was a transformative game for us. And there we met Eric Schaefer and some of the other folks. Well, I guess Eric is the only one that's with us now that I met at that time. And Peter and I started Moonbeast a little over a year ago, and then Eric joined us last year, and we're really excited to be leading the team. We're still a small team. A lot of us have worked together at Blizzard North and at Flagship Studios. Peter and Eric obviously worked together on the Torchlight games. So we've been making ARPGs our whole careers. This is something that we really believe in, we really love. We were there very early on in the genres. In the genre, you could argue that Eric was one of the inventors of the ARPG genre, and we just can't seem to get enough of it. So we're hoping to bring some new things to the table, and we'll be showing off some of that. And we are bringing a lot of new things to the table, and it's going to be familiar, hopefully, but also different. Yeah, I'm pretty much ready to go. Peter, do you want to say anything before we switch over to show what we're working on?
Go.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, let's see if this works here. Okay. So we don't have a name for it yet, but this is our game. It's nighttime right now. We have a day and night cycle. It'll turn day here pretty shortly. Everything here is procedurally generated. That's one of the things that's familiar but yet different. Diablo 2 and Diablo 1 were procedurally generated. ARPGs generally have moved more towards kind of the set piece paradigm, less wholesale procedural generation. But this is really procedurally generated on a granular level. So if you think about a game like Minecraft or Terraria, the world is made out of voxels, but we put this really beautiful skin on it. So that's not the first thing that you see when you jump in. It's not like, oh, it's a block world. But yeah, everything is deformable in real time. You'll probably say that this will be a multiplayer game. It is a multiplayer game. We'll be demoing that later. Client server. Play single player, or you can play multiplayer. A lot of flexibility. You can see here as they're throwing grenades, leaving little divots in the ground. And I've got a skill here I'll equip in a second that will also blow things up.
Phil, turn down the SFX volume a little bit.
Yeah. Tiny taste of meat.
I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. Dude, I like the graphics.
Whoa, that's the flame wave. That is not.
Oh, that is nice.
So morning is coming. Anybody has any questions, go ahead and chime in. I'm not actively looking at them.
Uh, let us know if Phil's voice is still a little low.
How's my voice sound? A little low, or I can turn it up a little bit?
Saying it's good.
Okay.
Remember, everything, like all the art in this is still placeholder. It's still work in progress. But
Man, them fire
you know,
effects.
during development, Eric especially wants to push us to make things look at least semi-good, because it makes us want to play the game more as we're working on it.
Yeah. All right, so this fireball, see, it's removing some of the terrain. Wherever I throw it. This will all be persistent. So one of the things, you know, a lot of our games in the past have been instance-based. So like you come back into the world and it doesn't really save the state of the world between sessions, or it does to varying degrees. We envision a fully persistent game. So the things that you do in the world over the time during the whole course of your game, you know, every battle that you've done, everything that you've built, everything that you've blown up, everything you've destroyed is going to be persistent. So in that sense, it's a very sandbox experience. What's going on here is, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, someone was asking, yeah, you could totally rebuild. You can create your own terrain, paint biomes. We'll show you all of that in this stream.
Yeah, we've got a really robust editor. One of the things that we believe strongly in is letting people mod the game. A lot of the folks here are from the modding community, Diablo 2 modding community. And you know, we've always really loved modding for these games. Peter was very instrumental in making modding possible for Diablo 2. And we're leaning into that in a big way. We're going to let players mod the experiences, create new content, create new experiences, even new game types. You know, we think this is going to be a really powerful way to innovate the ARPG genre and, you know, keep the game alive, keep the game fresh, and, you know, let people take the game that we've made and make it into something that feels really unique and special.
So I'll take a minute here to answer a couple of questions that have been asked. Let's see, one of them is there any way we can donate or buy merch to support the studio? And, you know, not right at the moment, but if we ever do announce a Kickstarter, please make sure to sign up for our mailing list, join our Discord or Reddit communities, and we'll announce those types of things there. Someone was asking, not all spells affect the terrain, and yeah, that's right. Like, there's definitely some spells that affect the terrain, some spells that don't. When you mod, you're going to be able to build your own spells, and you'll be able to build spells that mod the terrain. And in fact, you know, you can use those spells to make cool editor functions so that you can extend the editor yourself. And then someone asked, will the graphics look considerably different in later development? Yeah, this is really early on. This is all sort of placeholder, work in progress. I mean, this is way earlier of a game than what I think most studios would show you. We've only been working on it for a little bit over a year. So everything, you know, all the animations will improve, the UI will definitely improve, and in general, a lot of it will improve. But I think it still looks pretty good, you know, for a fully sort of voxelized Minecrafty world. You can see Phil doing editing and stuff.
One of the things we're curious, I was going to say on that subject, you know, part of the reason we're showing it now is to get people's impressions on, you know, so feel free to chime in. You like it, you don't like it, what you do like about it, what you don't like about it. Because part of this is to get feedback too, not just to hand it over and say this is what we're building, but this is so early that we really want to involve the community in our build process.
Yeah, definitely. Some people will have questions about character development items and stuff like that. Those things are too early. I think we're going to lean a lot on our Diablo 2 roots in terms of character development and items. We're going to innovate on them, of course. We've learned a lot of things working on Torchlight and other ARPGs. So those will all come in later, and we'll do a stream, in the coming months that show off more of those features.
Trying to get this water to flow downhill. That's one of the cool things, is that we have this fluid simulation.
Yeah, and actually, there's this entire fluid simulator that Brian Bezic wrote. It's very, very cool for like an ARPG. You'll see lava later. You can have water flow into lava and turn into rock, and there's just sort of a physical simulation going on in this game that I don't think any ARPG has really done before. Certainly not a massively multiplayer one.
Just having the height and the jumping and the verticality is also a new thing for these kinds of games. It's really like you have games that sort of feel like you can go anywhere, especially in ARPGs. Oh, here you can jump down off this cliff, but it's just like a place that you have to walk to and then click a button, and then you'll automatically kind of move down that area or jump across that chasm. So here, we're really like, you can go anywhere, as long as, the only thing you have to worry about is it dangerous? Or are you going to get into trouble before you're ready to handle it? But that's part of the idea, that you're going to explore and find different ways of doing things and really, figure it out, figure out how you want to play it instead of only going through it on rails, more or less. So I'm so used to demoing it like that, and it's like, oh, forgot to mention, yeah, you can jump and you can climb and you can go up and down, and anywhere you can see on the screen you can go to.
So the Eric was joking about the loading screens. So the area that Phil is entering now is called the Gloom, and you'll see a ring of mist close in on him as he enters it, and it's because you have a limited time that you can stay in here. There's a fluid simulation for the Gloom, so it can expand and take over the world, and there's you'll find in as you play the game that there's things creating the Gloom. In fact, there are monsters that drag the Gloom out as they explore beyond the Gloom. And part of, in this particular scenario, part of the things that you have to do is figure out a way to turn the world back to green. Yeah, and the entire environment changes, and light cycle and everything else changes, and music changes when Phil enters the Gloom. Yeah, and we definitely plan on supporting both full trading and solo self-found. You can dig. It's kind of a Minecraft world. You can dig down and explore for things. There's things buried down there. And you can go down for quite a ways. And someone was asking how far you can dig and whether or not you'll find things down there.
Yeah, that's really it's kind of just a gameplay balance thing. We're figuring out, how far down is it fun to dig, what are the fun things to do. Designing the engine to be as flexible as possible, though. I am in God mode, which is why I'm not getting killed here by the Gloom. I wanted to find one of these parasites. These are the things that are spreading it out. So if I blow a hit up, you'll see that the source of this purple mist goes away. So it's going back to its natural state. And I have another spell here that I can do to boost that along. Little green nova. Also drop these waypoints that are a source of kind of a base for me. It'll heal me when I'm near it, and it also pumps out a little bit of anti-gloom.
And Phil can actually, those things are waypoints that Phil can use, and he can transport himself from place to place using them as well.
build a little fort around them so that monsters can't just instantly attack them. Yeah, for example, go back here to my home base. This is a kind of mechanic we're messing with right now. When you kill monsters, you get some of their energy, and you can trade it into this thing to sort of increase the anti-gloom properties. A lot of this is still gameplay, is still works in progress. We're mostly focused on the underlying systems and the technology and all the core things that will
Necrolis is
enable us to
asking
build.
whether or not, sorry, Necrolis is asking what the goal is for combat in terms of monster count. And yeah, we'll definitely have larger number of monsters as you progress further into the game. And there'll be large hordes of monsters for you to kill. And there will also, someone is asking, didn't see who, but whether or not there'll be a hardcore mode. There'll definitely be some sort of hardcore mode. And again, remember, this game is fully moddable, so if there's like a mode that we don't have, you'll be able to add it in all likelihood. You'll be able to script the game and create your own missions, create your own game mechanics and things like that. Initially, we're not going to allow people to upload models and textures because that's just sort of a moderation nightmare for us. But as the game grows, we want to make a system that will eventually allow that.
That's because people like to upload boobies.
Someone was asking whether or not you could create a geocaching game where you could bury treasure for other people to find. And yeah, that would be really cool. We would love to see people sort of invent new genres of game as part of their modding of this.
Should mention also that, when we say modding, we're not talking about mods that you have to download and install and you're only running them on your local games. Like, we want to support mods that are running authoritatively on our server. So, they're official mods. Like, it's scripted mods that are running on the client server architecture. So multiplayer mods, very easy to, install them and trade them and share them. And you're basically just creating games with with the mods that you've decided you want to put into your game, into your unique world. So it's kind of like an ARPG metaverse. You'll be able to link worlds together, create your own MMO in effect. With deep ARPG gameplay and systems, with all the itemization, and procedural generation, and the affixes, and loot and classes and skills. And one of the things we found is like making ARPGs. A lot of people want to make RPGs. It's one of the first things, like, oh, I'm gonna sign into Roblox, I want to make an RPG, but just so difficult. There's so much technology that goes into making an RPG. So many features. One of the hardest, if not the hardest, game genre to make. And so innovation is really stagnant. It's hard for people to, just even dream of creating a game of this complexity. So by letting people have the tools to mod it and really try out different wacky stuff like geocaching, that's an awesome idea, but no publisher would ever build a game like that. So we think that we can't wait to see what other people are going to do with it. One of our selfish motivations for doing this is just see what other people come up with.
So Phil, do you want to take a pause and join the multiplayer server?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
And go into a dungeon, that type of thing. I don't think you've done that yet, so
okay.
Let's do that.
Peter will keep talking. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna switch over to join a multiplayer.
While they are switching, I'm gonna hop back on here. This I don't know. I kind of like how it looks.
I think someone was asking how moddable the AIs are going to be. That's hard to know. Like, there is a scripting system built into the game. You can do a certain amount of scripting. However, there's a limitation in terms of, like, you don't want to make scripts that are so complicated that it can't run on a multiplayer server. So we'll give feedback to people on that. But yeah, ideally, we're going to allow people to mod the things that they want to mod, and we'll be responsive to the community as we go through alpha, and build tools for doing things that people want to do. So we've got 2 mages in this game. I don't know who's in. I don't know if someone wants to speak up. I think that's Brian Bassett, probably. The warrior animations are definitely unfinished.
Some of the developers did come from World of Warcraft, Mats. Apparently, a lot of these are Blizzard ex-employees, and while some of them did come from the Diablo 2 team or the Diablo 1 team, etc., some also came from working on World of Warcraft
yeah,
and
this
whatnot.
is running on a completely different network architecture than any that has been used on ARPGs in the past. It's something that I think we had to do something very different to support modding, real-time modding, collaborative modding, the physics of being able to jump around and push things. I don't think Phil's you can push mana crystals around. We could flip a switch and let people push people around and monsters and all that stuff.
He's just straight up just modifying the terrain right now. It says down at the bottom, editor mode, just like a game editor mode, so you can just edit the world.
Someone said the mic is muted. Can you double check that you're...
Hear me now? Better? Sorry about that.
Cool.
So I was talking about the editor, but yeah, maybe we should go into a dungeon first.
Yeah, you guys run around, go into a dungeon, and then we'll do some... Really want to show off sort of the multiplayer editing. I think that part is really cool. Yeah, ultra-wide will definitely be supported. Can't though. I think Eric is playing with this massive, crazy monitor that, yeah, it's insane. It's pretty funny what you can get. And you can see Phil bringing up the sort of the in-game level editor every once in a while. You will not be able... I think when you're modding, you can do map reveal all secure, but when you're playing a game, I don't think that's gonna... I mean, I guess someone could mod it in as a feature. Yeah, definitely. We'll have warriors that can do leap attacks that leave craters in the ground where they land. There's something actually really amazing about our new network architecture. It's very, very resilient to lag spikes. Phil, when you're playing sort of by yourself in a world, you'll probably never feel a lag spike whatsoever. And even in multiplayer games, things like rubber banding and lag spikes are pretty minimal. You'll see that Phil's been playing on the server, like he was playing on a local server earlier, and he's playing on a remote server now. And, I at least haven't noticed much in the way of lag so far. But yeah, it should be really good. I don't know if we're going to support multi-monitor. I mean, that's one of those features that you add later. I don't think anyone really, will probably be really busy just adding gameplay features and items and all that sort of thing, and just improving the graphics and all that before we get to multi-monitor. But someday, if the game does really well, sure, why not?
Yeah, the editor's really neat.
So people have been questioning about the multiplayer work, and also I guess I'll answer a couple of the questions. In general, we'll have like an official game and official servers, and the character will be sort of secure on that. And you, as a modder, create your own server. You can link that server up to other, your friends, and so you can build mods together and create just a giant MMO world of your own. But you can isolate your economy, so you have full control as the owner of a server, like who can bring what items in or what characters into your mods. So that's how, as the owner of a server, you can ensure the sort of security of your the economy and the security of your mod sort of on your own and the official, these just really interesting mods, and we want sorry. Yeah, so I was talking about official mods. Like if people submit mods and they're just really good and we look at them and we decide that we want to add them to the official game world, it's something that we could potentially do in conjunction with the creators of those mods. Well, yeah, we fully expect people to be able to make it into MMO worlds, like we said before. You should be able to link up your worlds, create MMO, create your own MMOs. Right now, obviously, this early in development, we only have team members playing right now, and you're not going to see massive numbers of people. But also, we haven't done a ton of multiplayer testing either, so we're still working on it.
Something that this team is really good at is the multiplayer architecture. Peter and Brian, both Brians worked on a lot of these multiplayer games. So we're really proud of our technical capacity in that regard.
Yeah, Brian Fitzgerald, who's on the team, was director of technology for Blizzard ever since. I mean, he was with the original Blizzard since original Warcraft, and was he was the principal lead of the BattleNet team. So there's a lot of server experience on this team. Someone is asking about if you don't care about building in construction. I think you can just play this game as a straight ARPG and go around finding items, which obviously we're not showing and haven't gotten to yet. But building up your character, doing runs and finding, improving your power. And but one thing that we've talked about doing is like being able to create almost godlike characters that can blast their way through mountains and having a very different experience than your typical ARPG when you're doing a run.
And also, since every game is procedurally generated, it's every time you start a new game world, it's going to be different than the previous world. So there's an element of just discovery and like, well, what's in this world that isn't really in most ARPGs. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. Just interesting and replayable, built to be replayable from the ground up. Without having to tack on arbitrary resets and seasons and campaigns and stuff like that.
Gone into a dungeon yet? I don't think so.
Oh, let's go find a dungeon.
Yeah, definitely the plan is to, when you create, like when you roll up a new world or you create a new world, that you can change difficulty levels. You'll have like map affixes and things like that you find in other ARPGs to change the character of the world. We've had like great talks about doing things like, one of the things that can happen is you can explore and you can find an entire new world, and it can like move and animate and attach to the world, the map that you're exploring now, and it could just be generated on the fly as you like do something in the world. And we've talked about having.
Just real quick, for the folks that are in the game, there's a dungeon on the west side. Let's all meet up there and go in. There we go.
We've talked about creating entire giant necropolises that change the world to night, and then you have to go in and kill some Lich King in the. Oh no! Did we actually get a disconnect?
Yeah.
this always happens in a live demo, right? Like you
Mhm.
show something and you do a test and everything works perfectly and boom, it breaks. So let's go on. Let's answer some questions. Monetization. Do you have a monetization plan yet? Yeah. So what we want to do is let mod creators monetize their mods. And it's sort of like a Roblox model where we sell the game at a box price. Our core game will not have any extra like in-game monetization. And then what we want to do, other than expansions and things like that, but what we want to do is let modders make mods and create, whatever kinds of sort of economy and monetization models that they want to do inside of their mods. And we would take a cut of the earnings, and that's how it would be. Obviously, we're paying for servers and other things like that and just the software. But I think that is actually a pretty good model for us. I don't think it's ready. So Harry Ann asked whether or not we'll be showing this game at the next Game Awards, and I don't think so. Like this is really, really, really early in production, guys. It's just
Well,
it's
next Game
like you're
Awards is next year at this time, right?
yeah, and maybe we'll see. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
I think Phil wants us to show it.
Well,
Maybe.
that's the thing now. You got to promote
Yeah, you got
as
to show
quickly
it.
as possible. A year from now, a lot can happen.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Good point. Yeah, we'll definitely have a long alpha and let people in and be testing things, let modders in early, and work on those features. You can definitely. Someone asked whether or not you can generate resilient worlds that you aren't prone to deformation, and there's actually different types of rock, and you can see there's places where you can see in the world. There's actually strata. There's like base rock. There's like rock that crumbles and all sorts of things like that. Different types of earth, and you can give it different armor and hit points and things like that. And
Having issues. All that'll
yeah,
be
looks like there's
scriptable too. You'll be able to make a world that just
yeah.
isn't deformable.
Yeah, just it was that was on the server. You may just have there may be something wrong with your connection to the server. I would say let's just switch back to single player so people can see it. Um, or local server. Um, it's not 100%. It doesn't have to be 100% procedural. Like our core game is going to be a mix of very, very procedural stuff and some set locations. And as a modder, you can. One of the things Phil was saying is it's really cool to be able to look around the world, a procedural world, and then just clip out a portion of it and save it off as a set piece for yourself, and you can edit it and import it into like a mod of yours or whatever. And it's actually a great starting point for making editing stuff.
Yeah. In fact, I can do that for a little bit.
Um, Someone asked about is the world building a part of the core gameplay? And it's really early and we're not 100% sure. Like I think in our core game, we will let people do world building and we'll let people like build towns and cities and do various things like that. But we won't require it. But particularly for this demo, I think we're showing world building because it's what we focused on, what we've built so far in the just in the early days of this team. And core gameplay is something like items and skills and character development. Those are things that we know we can do. Like we have so much ARPG experience that we've been willing to sort of put that off so that we can get the terrain deformation and things like that. And the editor, like obviously you want to get your editor in the game early, and we have a completely different editing experience. So it's what we've built so far, and it's what what we're showing to people
Something I'd be
in
interested
this
in
particular game.
getting people's thoughts too. Like, like when we're running around and doing this kind of thing, like what I'm doing now. Like, oh, here's a cool area. It's procedurally generated, but wouldn't it be neat if I could do this and I could put this little thing and create a little ruins, a little set piece of ruins, and make it into an encounter area. So our idea with that would be just to walk through a potential scenario here. You're running around in a procedurally generated world. You find an area that looks a little bit interesting, and then your imagination says, well, what if I put a lake over here and there were some ruins, and I want to put a little castle and make a fort and an outpost, and then maybe I should put a spawner here, and all of a sudden I'm creating a really intricate boss fight, and then I could save that all out as a set piece that can get spawned into my world, in the future, or if I really put a lot of time into it, I could sell it, or I could just give it away to folks. Oh, here's a potential thing that can show up in your world. So like that level of creation feels to us pretty like easy and benign, and it's not like, oh, I'm creating a mod and I have to download a scripting engine. I'm just exercising my natural inclination to create something in the world. And it's not really part of the game loop, but it just sort of happens as like a little side project. So like that's one way that we see that people can just start to sort of dip their toes in the water, making stuff. But to the question
Speaking
of like
water.
Oh, speaking of water,
Speaking of
yeah,
water,
let me pick a pond.
make a pond. Make a pond. It's cool.
But like in terms of inside the gameplay, it's like, say I'm out in the world, I'm far away from town, I find a dungeon, it's really, and for whatever reason it's difficult for me to get back to town, or I don't want to, I'll just make a little settlement here. Like it makes sense for me to build a settlement at this specific location. So it's not just where we say the towns are. Like I'm going to build a little settlement, figure out a way to get some NPCs there and a vendor so that, it's quicker for me and my friends to have a town right here. Like to me, that feels super cool, and it feels like a natural extension of, this really open world paradigm with the ARPGs. So yeah, to the question, like, well, I'd like to throw it back too and say, like, does that sound interesting? Does that kind of level of, I don't want to call it it's not a pure sandbox game, not a survival game, but like it's got some of those elements.
Oh, hey, Max. I just noticed Max is joined our chat.
Got the whole gang here.
Someone was asking how many people can exist in the world. I mean, we really want to be able to make almost full-scale MMOs. So, having like 100 people on a server or something like that, we don't know. We'll have to see. But theoretically, it should work, and we're going to try to push it as much as we can. You see Phil painting with a water brush now, so he's just filling. He created, it's like building. He created a level terrain, and he's filling it with water. And there's a water simulation. The water flows, you know, and he can fill it with lava, and the water and the lava will interact and things like that. So yeah.
Love making lakes. I've made some really, I've gotten lost in this editor and spent hours making some really beautiful little scenes.
So someone was asking, does the world continue to exist while there's not players around? And that's something, it's actually kind of happened to us in the past where we go into a dungeon and come back and the world is overcome by gloom because we spent too long in the dungeon. So there's the possibility of that happening. Obviously, for performance reasons, we're not going to do it all of the time, but I think for specific game types and things like that, it's a possibility. I think this game, in some ways, will be a live surface game because we're going to be supporting modders, creating their mods and monetizing off of that. And we'll be constantly adding features and improving things, adding monsters, item, whatever, like content, right? Models, animations, and things like that. But also, we are very cognizant of the single player community and, people who may not want to connect to a server. And it's something that we have to think about for ourselves and whether or not we want to support that. That's kind of undecided, but it always remains a possibility. Let's see. We haven't done swimming animations yet, but we plan on doing it and climbing all those cool things. it will definitely have, someone is asking whether or not there'll be instance zones, and the dungeon was an instance zone. We can regenerate those every time you go in. So as a mod creator, you can create instance zones, you can create, and in our core game, there'll be both a mix of open world persistent areas and instance zones that people can go through and always find new content and do runs and things like that. It does turn, I think Phil's trying to make a waterfall now, so you'll get to see it. You'll get to see a waterfall in action. Um, I think that's one of the really cool things that happens.
We need a continual water source. Like I can drain this water and then it'll flow into here. What I usually do, if, when we don't, because we don't quite have that yet, I usually make it sort of look like a waterfall. Put some water down here, but I will show it. I'll show it here.
Someone is saying that we still have you not gone into a dungeon yet? We still
Oh
have
yeah,
not
keep
gone
crashing
into-
here. Let's go to a dungeon.
All right, let's remember to try to do that. But it might be the dungeon that was crashing, so I don't know. We'll see. We went into a dungeon many times in our tests, so I'm not sure why that's happening.
All right, cross your fingers.
There's a teleport animation?
Dungeon.
Dang. It looked like the whole world redrew itself when he teleported.
So this is an instance dungeon.
Oh, AI back on. I turned off AI while I was modding.
Oh no, he's not god moded.
People have asked in terms of aesthetic whether or not there would be dark areas, sort of gloomy areas, things that match more like sort of the D2 vibe. And I think that's definitely something that we're going to shoot for. We're going to try to make a large variety of sort of aesthetics because with sort of this persistent world, it's always good to be able to have contrast, right? Like you want nice green towns where people can just hang out and be pleasant, and then you want to be able to go into like dark dungeons where evil's completely invested in taking over. So we have areas of gloom, we have dungeons with dark lighting, and we're going to continue to push those boundaries as we go.
Yeah, hit him with the old razzle dazzle. That's right. Hit him with
These
the...
dungeons are currently instances. Like, in order to go into an instance, you can't dig into an instance. You have to you have to move through a portal. There's a possibility that we'll be able to create more dungeon-like things that are part of the overworld that can collapse and then you can go into or whatever. But there's always the ability, at least, to portal to different places.
And they're persistent still. Like, everything that I do in the dungeon will get saved. But it's like, yeah, it's apart from the map is what you're getting at, right?
Someone asked how spammable the teleport skill is. Like, in general, because of the elevation differences here, like we're gonna want people to have like these very like easy to use movement skills, and I think that'll be a bigger part of the game where all of our classes have cool movement skills that they can use to move around in the map so that they don't get stuck. Though overall you don't get stuck very much anyway. I think we spent a long time working on that.
Is that the portal? That portal looks cool. If that's the portal. That thing looks neat.
Someone asked where the SOJs are. We have yet to do, like, this is pre-alpha. There's not an item system. We haven't done a lot of the skill trees and skill systems yet. These are just like random skills that we've built to be able to just play around in the game. But those are all coming later. It won't be called Stone of Jordan, of course.
Why not?
Guard of Jordan.
So here you see the dungeons will actually have more elevation. This dungeon is on a procedural generator, and we haven't built in a ton of elevation into it yet, but it'll get a lot more. They'll just
I caught myself on fire.
went over the lava and kind of, yeah.
Yeah, lava hot. Lava burn.
Standing in Rodman. Someone asked about the social aspects of the game, and yeah, definitely social is incredibly important to us. Sort of a lot of our design decisions are centered around making sure that the social aspects of the game aren't neglected. Obviously, things like trade and chat and various and things like that help with social. Um, but I think with the collaborative world building, people will be able to get together, build towns, organize in guilds. We've already talked about ways that people can create their own guild mechanics with the scripting system, with the built-in item systems and whatnot, and just extend the functionality of the game. I think that'll be really cool to see as well.
He's manipulating the lava.
Yeah,
really cool.
so someone asked about what happens if you start digging straight down and you haven't had much chance to see it, but there's a dynamic camera system that tilts so that you can see better. It just detects where you are and it can tilt the camera. I don't know if Phil's ready to do that, but he could, in theory, do it.
In general, we try to avoid situations where, and it's one of the big topics of discussions. You know, it's like, well, do we let you do that, or would there be a reason to do that? And you know, there's gameplay reasons why that might be cool. Like you could fall into a cave. Get out of here. Actually, I don't know that Dungeon does that. Oh, there it does. Bloop, bloop.
Oh, look at that. The camera's kind of dynamic. That's
Yeah,
what
so
they were
you can see
talking
the
about.
camera tilt when Phil goes behind a wall.
Okay. So the camera won't let you hide your character behind the wall.
Yeah, so someone asked beyond terrain building. I think right now we've shown mostly the sort of the level editor and the terrain editor, but there's actually in this a full-on data editor that lets you change stats for monsters and items and game rules and all sorts of things like that that we will show at some point.
Show some of that here. Kind of cool.
And now you're seeing a bunch of our debug tools, which again, like you rarely get to see, but Phil can just bring up various menus, turn on like little things that let him see what the AIs are thinking and what their plans are. Yeah, you should be able to push goblins into lava and stuff. There's a physics engine attached to this game.
There's a game seed code.
Yeah, and all this is in client. You don't have to have a separate editor. You know, script editing, everything will be directly inside of the client.
Where's the thing that shows the little thought bubbles?
You turned on the ugly padding thing. It's in game bars and
Ugly
AI
padding.
bubbles. It's at the top, AI chat. I think you have it. It's a go up. It should be at the top,
hold on.
right?
Let me turn off the. Oh, here's the sim terrain. You can see actually what the server sees the game world as.
Right now, this game is built as a fully cross-platform console. We haven't actually run it on console, but we've built everything so that we can very quickly go to a console port, and we're building on an engine that supports cross-platform development. So yeah.
There he tells what he's doing.
Move to unit.
So you can do AI debugging.
Sleeping.
And stuff like that. So because sleeping. We're building this to support modding, like as a modder, you would be able to have access to tons of these tools, like to debug things, to figure things out, and just to see what's going on inside the internals of the game. Whether it's like, stuck monsters, pathing, whatever. I wouldn't play with this on for a long time though, because it's obviously like in-game debugging tools are pretty ugly right now. This dungeon is set to clear. Someone is asking whether or not monsters respawn. In the overworld, we have monsters set to respawn, and in this instance dungeon, they do not. So you can clear this entire dungeon. And sort of the feeling of clearing dungeons is really important. And it's just something that we want to be able to support. If you guys don't have the chat open, Eric Schaefer and various other people, I think Brian Fitzgerald and Colin, there's a lot of people from the team answering questions in chat. So if I don't get to your questions, or Phil doesn't get to your questions, feel free to go check out the chat. You may well find the answer there.
There's currently not loading screens between areas. We're doing everything we can to make it as seamless as possible. Like Peter said, the dungeon is a separate area that you're warping to, but we want to make it so that it doesn't feel that way, and it just feels like you're going into different areas fluidly. The world itself loads as you walk around, and that's our hope. We can keep it as much of I don't know. What am I trying to say, Peter? We want the overworld to feel as contiguous
Seamless.
as possible.
Yeah,
Seamless and contiguous. Yeah.
We've experimented with giant worlds because there's actually a cheat command which you shouldn't use because we haven't tested on this build, but you can just create another giant procedural generated, and there's different generators which we're not showing, but there's ones that make like dwarf fortress, like lava fortresses and stuff like that, and you can just run it and it'll just create another world alongside the world that you're in, and you can just walk over to it, and it's super cool. Like it'll animate in, and you can see the terrain just coming, rising up from whatever is below, and yeah, it's super cool, and you can just keep adding to that and creating a larger and larger world as you go. If someone is asking about feedback and suggestions, I would suggest you join either the Discord or the Reddit. There's opportunities. We're always sort of looking, checking out what people have to say. Difficulty scaling, again, this game is really in sort of almost a pre-production, definitely pre-alpha. We plan on having difficulty scaling in terms of not dynamic difficulty scaling, but as you go to different areas, the areas will be of different set levels. More like sort of how Diablo 2 does it. And then as you generate a world for yourself, you can set difficulty parameters there. I think if a modder wanted to make fully dynamic difficulty scaling or something like that, they could add that in up to depending on their sort of design aesthetics. Yeah, so someone asked, I think I answered this question a little bit earlier, but we are not planning on shipping with cosmetic mods. People won't be able to upload their own terrains, at least for the online multiplayer aspect of this game, and that's a sort of content moderation issue. But it's something that we ultimately want to be able to support in some way. So in the future, it's something that we think about and plan for as we build this engine. think Phil's created this giant network of waystones at this point.
Yeah,
To teleport between.
making a little safe corridor.
Someone asked about hardcore again. Acrolis asked about permadeath hardcore. Yeah, I mean, I love playing hardcore D2. I think with this network model, which is really, really lag tolerant in many ways, I think hardcore will be taken to a level that's really different, and we really want to support cool new hardcore modes. And when I talk about lag tolerant, like this game is fully client server authoritative. It's fully client server. However, it still has the ability to, like when you disconnect in hardcore through lag, to allow you to reconnect at exactly the same time. It's a weird model. It does some sort of time. We call it time travel. But it's interesting stuff.
He's over there protecting his stones.
Someone asked about showcasing mods, and yeah, definitely. I think any mature platform is going to need modes that allow people to allow us, people to find the mods, the good mods. We'll let people vote on mods, and we'll want to promote mods that people like. Another question was, does the world building also require resources? And did you create that lava level, or did you find it? There's a lava level, I think, somewhere attached to this. Yeah, it's a meteor. Okay.
That's TBD, right? I mean, that's probably some level of resource collection and management, but like how we're doing the building and the mechanics of it is we're really at the systems level right now. We're building the functionality for it, and then we're experimenting with different, what's fun. We want everything to be in support of the ARPG gameplay. Like that's kind of our mantra. It's like, does it help the experience of feeling like you're in an ARPG? And if it doesn't, if it starts to get too in the weeds, that's sort of our weather vane for how we explore these more open-ended features, kind of sandbox elements.
The mode that Phil is playing in, you can't build in the gloom. So like the gloom, takes over, and you can't also get mana. Not that it matters, since Phil is playing in God mode. But there's gameplay aspects of the gloom that affect his gameplay, like in really major ways. Someone is asking about natural catastrophes, tornadoes, tsunamis, major random events, like lava volcanoes, like totally.
Yeah.
We talk about that all the time. We're completely going to build those types of things into the game.
Yeah, like disease, lava floods. It could rain and just be raining for days, and everything starts flooding, and you got to figure out how to solve that. That's the kind of stuff, like, it really does support the ARPG gameplay. Like, if you have a dynamic world where you have to, you're halfway through the world and you've discovered a lot of it and you've unlocked a lot of it, then you have something that happens at that level, like, that's threatening your entire world, then all of a sudden you have to think about things differently instead of just, how am I going to get through the next dungeon? It's like, well, how am I going to save my town?
Yeah, and someone pointed out that not everyone who plays D2, like obviously, like you're not building in D2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone who plays ARPGs likes building,
Right.
likes that aspect of the game. So what would you have to say?
Well, what's super fun is, I mean, say, take a game like Valheim, for example. Like, they've got building and crafting, and it's also just, it can just be an adventure game. But like it's even more fun when you're teaming up with people. You know, we had some people that are more into the building and the stay at home, you know, manage things on the home front, and other people that are out there clearing dungeons and getting the gear and getting the loot. So we think that would be a lot of fun, like having a game where different people can play in different ways. But if you are the type that doesn't want to do any of that, we certainly want to let it just be, you know, hey, just run through the world and play it the way you like to play Diablo 2, and it wouldn't be required. And maybe those are switches or parameters, or just, you know, it's just built into the game based on what you do. You know, if you're more the dungeon adventurer type, you can completely do that.
I'll remind people, I think several people didn't come in at the beginning, but if you want to find out more about the game, you want to stay up to touch, join our Discord or Reddit. They're both linked on the Twitch page.
I think we're at about an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to keep talking to people, or keep this running, or maybe just put it on the loading screen and we can talk, or just do it again another day.
Let's do it again another day.
Yeah, do it again another day. Yeah, we want to sort of keep people abreast of what we're doing. You know, we want to stay as indie as possible and build it alongside a community and really make something that, you know, it's not just our idea of where we want to take things, but, you know, it's very near and dear to us to, you know, build the kind of game that the community wants to play, that you guys want to play, and, you know, you'll be able to put your own stamp on it as well.
Thanks, everyone, for joining our very first look at the game. It was a nervous thing for us to do, but, you know, I think we'll try to keep you abreast of the development.
Abreast.
And hope you join our Reddit or our Discord, join the community, you know, follow the progress on the game.
Yeah.
I think in the future, we really want to show items and other sort of skill trees and things like that.
Thank you, everybody, for your interest and for your good questions, and, you know, spread the word. Like Peter said, sign up on our Discord and Reddit and join the community. Yeah, and help us build this thing. We're really excited about it, and we're very excited to be giving folks a first sneak peek. Like Peter said, nervous, but we're also excited to be able to share it with everybody.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll put up the pod to share.
Yep. Yep, the pod will go up. All right, thanks, everybody.
And I guess that's it for the stream. We can go back and we can take a look at stuff though. I want to talk about some of this stuff. We can have some fun talking about some of this stuff.
Yeah, it should save. I've got it all. But yeah, I'm pretty sure TM.
Pretty sure
It still says stream live. I don't know if you want to cut it.
Yeah, I will cut it.
That's right. Stream's
Hot
still
mint.
live. Hot mint. There you go. Now the stream's dead. All right, let's pull up the stream and let's take a look at some of this stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, talk about some of it. I mean, there's some pretty cool things in here. We should make a kinship server. I was thinking about that. Make like a clan server. Just everybody in the clan gets to be on the server. All right, I'm going to bring out my live stream. And that way we can go back during my live stream. We can take a look at some of the stuff that they had here. Some of the effects for some of the spells were pretty freaking awesome looking. I gotta say that much. Like, I don't know. I don't know. He didn't really say that all these spells were kind of like, you know, gonna make it into the game. He said they kind of worked together some stuff that they could use. Like that firewall's ridiculous. I don't know what's going on with that firewall. That firewall's freaking, what is going on like there? Good. First time I saw it, I was just like, oh, holy Jesus, what is this? The freaking fire devastation of the gods over here? The terrain destruction is kind of cool too. I'm not sure about like the long-term effects of the terrain destruction on a world, but it could make for interesting I don't know, cleanup duties for the people who are running the servers. You know, like get to go through and fix up some of the stuff that got broken in the latest battle. I don't know, like maybe redesign things so it's a little bit more sturdy. He also like played around when he was in the dungeon. Trying to see here. When he was inside the dungeon, he was like terraforming the ground, and then the lava, which is a fluid, was flowing into the place that he terraformed. So, I mean, it was very obvious that not only can you manipulate the terrain, but you can also manipulate the fluids like water and lava, and I don't know, maybe if there's other fluids like oil or something like that. And that definitely seems like there's some interesting ways that you could make the game sort of, I don't know, make the worlds into what you're trying to make. I mean, from a modder perspective, it definitely looks really good. I'm hoping that they at least come with, you know, like obviously come across with a very solid single player game as well for the people who are not really going to be interested in the mods. I mean, obviously there are going to be a lot of people who are very interested in the mod part of the community, but some people just want to buy the game and play it. So I hope there's a very nice portion of the game there. I like how he has it literally just labeled doodads. Doodads, units, and all, and there's just a whole bunch of like models and mods in here. He did crash at one point. There was an error connection to his server. Connection failed, game session failed, not logged in, username fills. Well, it's kind of interesting. He also pulled up a couple like console commands a couple times. I was looking at those. He seems to have like the freaking like developer god mode version, because there was a couple times where he literally just opened up a panel on the right and ticked the little box that said god mode, and he was like, oh, yep, god mode on. And apparently a lot of the stuff is going to be editable within the game, which is certainly very interesting. I mean, I kind of really does anybody else like really dig these freaking health and mana globes down at the bottom? I don't know about you guys, but those health and mana globes just look really cool. Oh, this is him showing off the target AI for the monsters. Apparently, you can modify the target AI on the monsters, so that seems pretty interesting. Something about going in and modifying how they attack. This guy just literally walked right through the fire, so I would assume that's something that you could maybe modify as be like, hey, you know, don't walk through the fire, idiot, and then, you know, walk through the lava. Because he just walked straight through the lava like it wasn't even there. He really did a whole bunch of terraforming over here. I wonder if I can get that part on. He was really messing with the frickin' ground over here at one point. I don't know if that's it. The menu in the bottom right, or the bottom, is a option in D4. I mean, these are the guys that worked on Diablo 1, Diablo 2. Apparently there were some people that worked on Diablo 3 in this mix. World of Warcraft. So, I mean, I would assume that we would see things be mildly similar to the thing. I'm also interested to see what kind of art style they eventually, you know, like fall on. They basically said that the art style in the game right now, or the art that they currently have in the game, is really a lot of placeholder stuff, and they're still working toward getting all that fixed. In fact, they even said something along the lines of that they're very confident in the ARPG aesthetic of things, so they've been focusing very much on like the world building, the modding tools, the stuff that they're not as confident with. They're trying to make sure they get all that straight first, and then they're going to go into the, you know, the ARPG aspect of things. I'm very interested in this whole like Roblox kind of modding community. So if you guys are unaware of how Roblox does things, let me see if I can pull up like a Roblox doojank. I don't know. It's been a little while. So when you pull up Roblox, I don't know if you guys have ever actually ever looked at Roblox. I have, because my girlfriend's little girl. She's into Roblox. And basically how Roblox works is it's a game, but it's not a game. And they talked about this specifically. So they were talking about kind of making a Roblox-esque type model. Now, ignore the fact that Roblox is a child's game. That none of that matters for what we're talking about here, because obviously they're going into an ARPG style. All right. But basically how it works is you have these modders and things like this that will make a game. They make a game and they put it up on the marketplace. People can download it and play it. Then the games range from absolutely terrible games that nobody wants to play. Like, for instance, there's ones down here at the bottom of the list, to absolutely amazing games that apparently everybody plays. Right? So like things like Jailbreak up here at the top. Some of these games are so popular that they have their own line of toys in stores and things like that, because they've kind of like taken over as a whole thing, right? So basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to build the base game to be, a game obviously that people would want to play. And then at the same time, they're making almost like a marketplace where people can create mods and post those mods up there. And the most powerful and the most, the best mods are obviously going to rise to the top, like cream rises to the top. And those mods will be the ones that everybody plays. I'm not exactly sure how many mods we're going to be looking at, but judging by the quality of the game and the amount of tools that they have to, like modify things and edit the game world, there's tons and tons of various possibilities. Everything from very simple games to, they could do like treasure hunts and prop hunts and stuff like that, or you could have even more, like Diablo 2, complete like Diablo 2 recreations and like stuff like that, where they just have like all the characters recreated from Diablo 2 and you just play like a Diablo 2 style like freaking Roblox game. But as you can see, like even within Roblox, there's tons of different mods, and there are tons of different ones that are ranked at different levels. Some of them are terrible, some of them are good, some of them are really basic, some of them are very advanced. And this is just the, like the Roblox. We're talking about an ARPG. So so the base of this game will be an ARPG, which can then be converted into tons of other things. It'd be interesting to see how the game develops. Obviously, they're still in early pre-alpha. They haven't really gotten into the, like the meat and potatoes of building the ARPG aspects. But we did get a very good look at like the world, the procedurally generated world, some of the, the thoughts behind the scenes, so to speak, at the very least. I mean, you could straight up make a tamer class, probably, LeMayo. The way that they have this set up with the open modding system is you could probably create whatever you wanted. I mean, yeah, somebody will probably make a MOBA, and I straight up said tower defense earlier, Kid Vicious. The way that he kept making these like little towers, and then he kept like building stuff up on top of things, and he was like making this like here where he literally builds like these little towers to go underneath of his pillars to protect them. I was straight up thinking tower defense when I saw him doing this. I'm like he's straight up literally just defending his towers against the monsters that are constantly coming in. And then on top of that, there's this gloom that's constantly being produced, and these are protecting against the gloom. So he's basically making a safe space and then protecting the things that are making the safe space. And the monsters are constantly coming out of the gloom to attack the towers to try and prevent him from being able to reclaim the land. I mean, it very much so could be a nice tower defense game, I think, in with this. I must have built additional pylons. That's right. Build additional pylons. What's wrong with you? The way he made a waterfall was pretty cool though too. I was kind of impressed with that. Where was that waterfall a little bit? Oh, did he crash twice? I didn't even realize he quite crashed twice. I must have missed that one. I know he made a waterfall, where was that waterfall? No, he didn't crash twice. That was just me going over it. I wanted to find the waterfall that he made. Apparently, these are the monsters that are supposedly creating the gloom. These big, giant, like, friggin', like, spore monster things. There is a day and night cycle, which I thought was also pretty cool. This was an interesting one where he was literally just like changing the terrain at will. And he basically just started building it up, and then he started changing it from like dirt into rocks, and it was a bunch of other little weird things he was doing. And I guess he just has like ultimate control over all the terrain around him in a circle. Be interesting to see how this converts into, because obviously he has developer tools and he can do whatever he wants to do, right? It'd be interesting to see how this actually converts into a game. How much of this actually, affects like the average player that joins your server, or is this just mainly developer tools? I feel like most of the stuff is probably just developer tools that the server owner is probably going to be able to do, and not so much the people who are actually playing the game. Him going through the gloom was kind of interesting too, how the gloom kind of like recedes from his position, and it kind of like he kind of pushes it away as he's walking through the gloom. But the gloom also seems to be slowly closing in on him as well, to the point where it seemed like the longer that he was in the gloom, the closer it got to him. Notice how when he first enters the gloom, he has a relatively large circle. And then after a while of being in the gloom, the circle starts to like slowly kind of like collapse in on him. And as the gloom gets closer and closer and closer, eventually it like seems to collapse in on him completely. And I'm not sure if he has God mode on, so I can't really tell if it like damages you or anything. But I would assume that once the gloom starts to get to you, it would start to damage you. And yeah. Let's take a look at the chat real quick, because I did answer a lot of questions on chat. Sorry to blind you guys. Loot will eventually be very Diablo 2 or Diablo/PoE like, and Peter and I are especially fans and experts at big random loot systems. There currently is respawn, at least in most areas. Will instances be random generated? Yes, for sure. When it comes to the music score, how are you planning on approaching this? Curious, as music is such an intimate part of the social plus acute experience. Not sure if he answered that one. Will dungeon refill with monsters if left alone after a long period of time? Not currently, but the overworld will probably have both kinds. I come from the camp of loading screens are evil, so only have them when you absolutely must. Loading screens are evil. Is Cluthu part of the game's lore, or is he just holding the mana orb for S and G? Not sure if he answered that one. Skills acquired from items. It will be a skill tree with branches, tabs, etc. We're still working on plans, but I like branches within skills. We'll be there. Hard. They said there was going to be a hardcore mode, so that was already answered. What about natural catastrophes? Major random events? Have you thought about that? There is technology for required resources to terraform and build these forts. It's not balanced at the moment for sure. Phil is playing in a mode where it doesn't need any of those resources. So basically there is a way to set up a resource system where you can actually build this stuff within the game server, but you would have to actually collect those resources. So that would be very Minecraft-esque. Adjunct says Ultra Firewall. I'm not really interested in building. I would prefer more ARPG focused gameplay. Do you think tentacle monsters should be in every ARPG? What? Oh, man. We've been pushing the art away from cartoony, but I doubt we'll get as gritty as like Diablo 4 and PoE. So it sounds like they are moving away from cartoony. So, like they said, a lot of the artwork is just simply, what's the term? Placeholder. A lot of it is placeholder. So that's just how it works. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a good first look at the game. I mean, I think we got a good hour at the very least of looking at the game, and it seems like a good start for a freaking pre-alpha. I'm kind of excited about it. We'll have to see how this game develops. They're obviously going to be moving forward in the future. There is a Discord if you want to hop into the Discord, and you can obviously participate in the community like information through the Discord. There's also a Reddit if you'd like to join the Reddit, and I actually have a bunch of videos if you guys want to check it out, kind of like on their design philosophy. I would recommend that if you're really interested in the game, that you check out these videos. If you take a look at my YouTube channel, I'll put a link in chat for you. But there's a playlist called Moonbeast, and it's basically a whole bunch of videos on the development process. So the developers have actually been posting these updates, and I've kind of been going over the updates. There are 4 of them so far. They're not particularly very long. You can probably watch them all in one sitting. One of them is on trade versus solo self-found. Another one is on seasons. In the seasons, they talked about this feature called shards. And that basically what they were going to do was going to be very similar to... really sure how to put it. Actually, you might have to just watch the video because that one's a little bit complicated. But I did kind of like their idea. Does it have microtransactions? They talked about enabling microtransactions through the mod community. So they're gonna rely on the mod community to create mods and then make their profit through the mod community. That's what they were talking about. Is it PC only? They talked about it's going to be on all consoles, so all platforms. They didn't say anything about a monthly subscription. They did say it was going to be single player, so that's good. They said there was going to be single player options. In this one, they talk about the skill trees, charms, crafted items. This was a pretty good one. And then in this one, they talked about the item level, tiers, and runes. All of these are really good if you want to get a good idea of what kind of game plan they have in store, because the developer updates that they posted are very telling in what they have planned for the future. So I would definitely take a look at those. Like I said, I linked those in chat for y'all if you want to take a look at them. And of course, you can come back and you can watch this again. This is obviously just the live version, but this you just hop back on here and just watch it again. They did say that the VOD would be live on their Twitch channel if you want to look at it over there. If you don't want my ugly face in it, you know, you could watch it without my ugly face. I know my face is ugly. You guys can, you don't have to humor me. I know. Okay, I know. When will it release? It's still pre-alpha, man. So it's gonna take some time. We're talking about probably a year to 2 years out, at the very bare minimum. And when pre-alpha means that it's got to go through alpha stage, it's got to go through the beta stage, and then eventually it's got to go through the, obviously the release phase. I'm not sure if they're going to do any kind of Kickstarter or anything like that for this. They did mention something about potentially doing a Kickstarter, so maybe there'll be a Kickstarter pack where you can, support it in advance and get some perks. I don't know. A lot of the times the Kickstarter programs have perks or special things that you can get, or like signed doohickeys, stuff like that. Maybe you want a signed T-shirt from Phil Shank that says Shank the Overseer on it. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something like that. That'd be pretty cool. I'll take a Shank the Overseer shirt. I mean, I wouldn't expect this one to be an alpha for 10 years, but yeah, I know what you're talking about, like early access games, that sort of stuff. Honestly, with a game that's so heavily focused on the mod community, it might actually behoove them to get the game in a good state and just go ahead and release it and let the mod community work, do a lot of the magic for them, because if they're hoping that the mod community is going to make amazing mods of their game, then the sooner that you get the game into the modders' hands, the sooner they can start working on making, their own projects. And that's kind of like the whole thing, right? Is you want them to make some interesting things. I'm kind of digging the some of the spells they got in this game, though. They're kind of cool looking. And I just really like the way that these spells make an impact on the actual game world. They feel so much more powerful when you fire like a meteor and it freaking actually destroys some of the terrain. I think that's pretty cool. I think I would have liked him not to run around in God mode, and I know he did that because he didn't want to die during his show test. But the God mode kind of like gave me no idea of like how powerful he really was. I think he did turn off God mode for a little while. I think it was around like right here. Yeah, notice his HP is actually slightly depleted and his mana is actually slightly depleted. So he actually did turn off God mode for a very brief period of time right here. And then he toggled it back on. He toggled it back on later, so... I mean, there's definitely some games out there that do like fake Kickstarters and they don't have any intention of actually releasing the game and they're just milking their community for money. I don't particularly think this is one of those. Not with all the big names that are involved in this one. They've put out too many games, including games of their own like Hellgate London and stuff like that. That yeah, I mean they failed, but they actually did release the game and it was a working product. So there are some games though. There's like a whole YouTube video I think on like games that Kickstartered and they had like no actual game that was released, and like freaking like 10-15 years later there was like no actual product ever. They ended up getting sued by the investors because they had no product. Man, doesn't look like you can even jump over the lava without like getting lit on fire. I'm curious as to why he has there's so much like Cthulhu-esque style things in here. I want to see him actually get hurt. See, there's his God mode right there. See it? Like he just has like a little checkbox. It just says God mode. AI, neutral monsters, show AI, UI, full screen, flip camera rotation, mouse look mode, kill all monsters, grant all skills, return to start area, user time. You can also change the time of day there. That's kind of interesting. So I think this is an actual fight with him not being in God mode. So let's take a look at this real quick. You see he's actually taking damage, and oh, he just granted himself all skills. Look at that. Cheater. Look, he's out of mana. Cheater. Yeah, you can turn the sound on. I don't know why I have it off.
It's always good to be able to have contrast, right? Like you want nice green towns where people can just hang out and be pleasant, and then you want to be able to get things that match more like sort of the D2 vibe. And I think that's definitely something that we're going to shoot for. We're going to try to make a large variety of sort of aesthetics because with sort of this persistent world, it's always good to be able to have
And then the toggle.
contrast.
Then he toggle. God, look at it. Look at it. Look. We're going back. We're going back. Slow mo that jank. Hold on. Hold on. Look. He turned that God mode right back on. He said, "Boy, I'm a sucker. No, don't like that. Gonna kill me."
Have contrast.
Hold on, let's go back to
When he teleported.
Actually started the fight there.
So this is an instance dungeon.
Oh, AI back on. I turned off AI while I was modding.
Oh no, he's not God moded.
People have asked in terms of aesthetic whether or not there would be dark areas, sort of gloomy areas, things that match more like sort of the D2 vibe. And I think that's definitely something that we're going to shoot for. We're going to try to make a large variety of sort of aesthetics because with sort of this persistent world, it's always good to be able to have.
Man, he turned that God mode on quick though, didn't he? He turned that God mode on quick. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. Dude, I like the graphics. So I'm assuming with these spells down here, this one is blink. Some sort of blink ability or teleport ability. It definitely seems like when he pulls up the panel and he actually clicks on these panels and then like, it's not just one spell. I mean, he's got like a whole bunch of different fire spells when he clicks on the fire spells. I mean, there's like a fire wave, there's like a V fire, there's like a fire bolt, there's like a multi-fire bolt. There's literally just a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on. Wow, Hobbs. There are some World of Warcraft
Whoa. That's
developers
that
in
is-
the list. Holy
Ooh, that
moly.
is nice.
Let's go back to the beginning real quick for those of you guys who may have missed it. He does talk about like the team and like the what the team is made up of.
Hi everybody. Welcome to our live demo. This is first time doing this for everybody here on the team, myself included. So go easy on us. So what we're going to be doing here today, I think a lot of you probably came over here from our Discord or from people that referred you here. What we're going to be doing here today is talking a little bit about Moonbeast. And then we're also going to be showing a very, very early look at the game. And this is well, not pre-production, but it's earlier than probably most people get to see a game. A lot of the art is, temporary placeholder. We've been working on this thing for a while now, and we're proud enough of it to be able to show it off and sort of get some impressions, but it's very early. Joining me via voice here, we've got some of the team that are in through Discord. Peter Hu, my co-founder, is here, and he's going to be primarily reading your comments and answering your questions and sort of directing while I play the demo. Eric Schaefer is here also. I don't think he's going to be talking too much, but he's here. He's here lurking on the forums, and we've got some of the other folks on the team too. Peter, can you say a word just to make sure that this is hooked up properly?
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us, and man, super excited to show you what we have so far.
Yeah, we're pumped. We believe that the people here, this is our devoted community, folks that we already know a little bit. A lot of you know a little bit about what we're doing from our Reddit and from our Discord. Incidentally, we have the links to both of those on our Twitch channel. So feel free to sign up for Discord and for Reddit to get ongoing updates. So a little bit of an introduction for those of you that don't know. We are a lot of ex-Blizzard North folks. I met Peter Hu there at Blizzard North working on Diablo 2. We both came specifically to work on Diablo 2. We had both played Diablo 1, and it was a transformative game for us. And there we met Eric Schaefer and some of the other folks. Well, I guess Eric is the only one that's with us now that I met at that time. And Peter and I started Moonbeast a little over a year ago, and then Eric joined us last year, and we're really excited to be leading the team. We're still a small team. A lot of us have worked together at Blizzard North, and at Flagship Studios. Peter and Eric obviously worked together on the Torchlight games. So we've been making ARPGs our whole careers. This is something that we really believe in. We really love. We were there very early on in the genres. In the genre, you could argue that Eric was one of the inventors of the ARPG genre, and we just can't seem to get enough of it. So we're hoping to bring some new things to the table, and we'll be showing off some of that. And we are bringing a lot of new things to the table, and it's going to be familiar, hopefully, but also different.
I just wanted to bring that up because you guys were asking about the team, and he kind of did like an introduction for the team there. So for those of you who are interested in the team, that's
been instance-based, so like you come back into the world and it doesn't really save the state of the world between sessions, or it does to varying degrees.
What is the new game called? They haven't decided on a name yet, Maxim. They have not decided on a name yet. It's still to be decided for the name. Moonbeast Production is the name of the company, but they haven't really decided on a name for the game.
We envision a fully persistent game. So the things that you do in the world over the time during the whole course of your game, you know, every battle that you've done, everything that you've built, everything that you've blown up, everything you destroyed is going to be persistent. So in that sense, it's a very sandbox experience. What's going on here is, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Someone was asking. Yeah, you could totally rebuild. You can create your own terrain, paint biomes. We'll show you all of that in the stream.
Yeah, we've got a really robust editor. One of the things that we believe strongly in is letting people mod the game. A lot of the folks here are from the modding community, Diablo 2 modding community, and you know we've always really loved modding for these games. Peter was very instrumental in making modding possible for Diablo 2, and we're leaning into that in a big way. We're going to let players mod the experiences, create new content, create new experiences, even new game types. You know, we think this is going to be a really...
I mean, we kind of gone over all this already, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look at here.
I'm so
we definitely got a lot of footage.
Like that. It's like, oh.
The map here is kind of interesting. Quantum console processor is initializing. Table generation under progress. 88 commands have been loaded. Quantum console processor ready. They were talking about the network connectivity was much more stable. This is the online, and it looks like this character is basically the same as this one. But this one kind of caught my eye. It looks like some sort of warrior, maybe barbarian-esque with a shield. Looks like they're obviously utilizing some sort of axe or something, or sword. This character is a different class than the other ones. The other one seems to be some sort of spellcaster, and this one is definitely a kind of like a melee style class, or at least that's what it looks like to me. Although he wasn't playing the melee character, somebody else was in the online environment. Does it have official dates yet? No, it doesn't have any official release dates yet. We're still looking into the development of the game at this point, so this is just our first look. This is the first look we've ever gotten at the game, basically. So we're still waiting for that kind of stuff. It's gonna take some time. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, we've covered just about everything. If you want to like rewatch the live stream, it'll be up for you guys, obviously. They said also that their VOD would be up on Twitch if you want to check it out on Twitch. So if you go over to Twitch, let me go ahead and plug them real quick, and you look for Moonbeast Productions. Moonbeast Productions is the official channel, and there's the VOD, so you can currently rewatch the VOD if you want to take a look at it.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be it for me, though. We might play some Grim Dawn later, though. I was actually thinking about it. I haven't really I haven't really played Grim Dawn in a long time, and you guys are making me want to. You're giving me the itch to give it a try. I went ahead and picked it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and get it downloading. If it's not downloaded yet, maybe we'll give it a try today, and we'll have some fun with Grim Dawn. Could be interesting. If you guys are interested in that, maybe I'll start up a live stream in about an hour or so. I think I'm gonna go eat dinner first. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos. Even when we're just checking out a brand new game that hasn't even been released yet, and hanging out with a bunch of old Diablo 2 developers. And as always, keep watching.